Hello, everybody. Very nice to see you and then also meet you. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are very, very excited about this international artist as a guest we're having today. And then also our friends from Monona. So this is like kind of triple collaboration, which is wonderful. Well, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Rio from Japan America Society of Minnesota. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you very much for joining us. And also, thank you to everybody who donated. Thank you so much. We are a very, very tiny nonprofit organization, and we are very, very honored to serve you, serve our community. And because of your donation and then your membership, we can continue this activity. So thank you very much. We do have another event coming up in April. Wow, it's April already. That by itself is devastating. So on 13th of April, if you are, this is actually a JASM member only event. It's a JASM member only event. And also you have to be here though, but this is in-person event. We call it Corporate Roundtable. And we are going to visit Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. And they're going to talk to us, tell us about their airport. And we get to see behind the scene of the airport, which I'm very, very excited about. And also they told me that they are going to make us Japanese breakfast, which I'm super excited about. So if you are interested, please check the information out on our website. If you are not a member, you will not be able to see the event. But that means that we do have events, member only events. So if you can become a member, that will be wonderful as well. And also on 20th of April, we're going to have a curator talk with director of MIA's Asian department, our best friend, Dr. Marks. He will be talking to us about their new touring. But I forgot the title of it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Aiko-san, if you can help me share the event in the chat section. Oh yeah, she has it out already. So you can see the detail there. But the curator talk with Mia is always popular one, and it's always nice one too. So if you can check it out, please join us. And now, like I said, we have guests today, and we have our friends from Monona, from Minnesota Marine Art Museum, and they will say hello to us. Please.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for everybody for joining us. My name is Scott Pollock, the Executive Director here at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum down in Winona, Minnesota. I think 120 miles downriver from where you all broadcasting from. Joined, of course, here in Hitomi Hosono's gallery here is my colleagues, Dave Casey, who is our Associate Curator, and Anissa Nelson, who's our Visitor Services Manager. Really jazzed about JASM's combination opportunity here to reach out and share a little bit about what has been absolutely an extraordinary installation here at the museum. Just wanted to share a little bit about who we are, and if that's okay, if you'll bear with me, I could just open this slide deck to give you a couple visuals, since we are a visual arts museum. I thought I'd just kind of walk you through where we're calling in from. And tell you a little bit about the museum. Like I mentioned, we're about 120 miles downriver from Minneapolis, Minnesota, located on the upper Mississippi River on a gorgeous 7-acre site, literally directly on the water. And of course, right, that therefore becomes our mission. What we do as a museum, as a nonprofit educational organization, is present great art inspired by water. We have a pretty powerful mission statement. Everything we hope we do filters through this, and really that is to create meaningful art experiences that explore our relationship with water. Pretty simple at the end of the day. Our vision, of course, as being an organization, is to create a much more compassionate and connected world for all. And these are just some of our values. Centering our work in communities and collaboration is everything that we are about. I mostly wanted to emphasize and share this image here from the opening night when we first kicked off this exhibition project. We filled the house with 300 plus people. There wasn't a busier place to be, I'd say, on the Upper Mississippi River than the Minnesota Marine Art Museum that evening, as people's eyes and ears and jaws had dropped at Hitomi's work in this installation. But really, the idea of collaboration, again, I can't thank JASM so much for putting this together and doing this work together, because that's what it takes. We might be far away from the center of the activity in the cultural center in Minnesota, but we definitely have a lot going on downriver here, and we hope you all be able to come down and see us for sure. I just wanted to share just a couple quick images of the installation here at the museum. We did this project collaboratively, our third partner, which we'll probably talk a little bit about, Adrian Sassoon Gallery in London, UK, where Hitomi is represented, and much of her work comes from. At first we thought, well, what could we do with 16 vessels? Until we very quickly realized that these very 16 vessels hold so much power and so much beauty that to look at one, somebody can spend almost a good 30 to 40, if not even 60 minutes marveling at the work that goes into each of these projects or these pieces here. Super grateful for the detail, the connections people are having to plants and animals and the water and the natural environment all around them that your work really does do for us, Hitomi. Sparks a very, very deep interest in, I think, that natural world and the beauty that comes with that. So we have been super, super fortunate to have these vessels, these particular 16 vessels here at the museum. And I am super proud to let you all know that because we've had, let me see if I can come back to you all. I will say that this has been one of the most popular 3 months that the museum has had in its 18 years of operating history because of this project. We've hosted Monets, we've had Picassos, but I can tell you that this is driving audiences week after week after week. And it's just been nothing but magic. And clearly I'm really excited to hear from you about your process and your work. And thank you all again for so much, providing so much inspiration for us all at the museum here. So hopefully that was a good introduction, and we do hope we can see everybody down in the gallery soon.
Thank you. Yes.
One more mention I completely forgot. Dave reminded me that anybody in the call today, it's not just an invitation to come down, but if you do come down for a week or the weekend and you want to come and take a peek at the installation, see the museum in its entirety, we are offering, I think, 50% off for anybody who's on the call or has participated in this tonight. So yeah, hopefully just mention that at the desk and we'll figure that out, and really hope to see you down this way.
Great. Can they show maybe the confirmation email to this event?
Perfect. Okay. Sounds great. You bet.
All right. For confirmation of the registration to this event, I mean. So yeah, if you can present that, they can give you a half off, which is wonderful. And it's very exciting looking already. And I'm so excited to talk to Hitomi-san. And I'm so glad to be connected with you, because until I actually start talking to you guys, I thought that your museum was about fish. So like fishing or something. And I was like, I mean, I eat fish, but I wasn't sure if I'm interested, but I'm very interested now that I know what you do. So definitely would like to visit you sometime soon. And I hope everybody will too as well. Now we would like to talk to Hitomi-san, and I would like to introduce her today. Thank you very much, Hitomi-san, for joining us today. Hitomi Hosono-san is a Japanese ceramist based in London, UK, demonstrating a mastery of Japanese and English ceramics traditions. Her detailed porcelain vessels reference the flora of the natural world, the delicacy of their chalk-like finish and gold I'm sorry, embellishments captivate using the spring mold technique, a process that they use thin ceramic reliefs or springs applied as surface decoration. Hosono-san captures the precise detail of botanical forms. The dense layers of springs evoke the surface of levels on tree branches. Her work has attracted the patronage of curators from the British Museum and Victoria and Albert Museum. So, without further ado, Hitomi Hosono-san, よろしくお願いいたします。Oh, wait, before, Hosono-san, first of all, 今ミュートされていますので、アンミュートしていただけると。And before that, I'm sorry, she's going to have a Q&A portion after her talk. If you can text me, or no, actually send me a chat. If you have a question you would like to ask her, I can ask that for you after her talk. So please send me a question via chat. All right, thank you. ひとみさん、どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
はい、よろしくお願いします。Leo-san, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And it's so nice that to see people here. And thank you for joining this event. First, of course, I want to say, thank you all people in the Japan America Society of Minnesota, but also of course, the Minnesota Marine Museum. The people really wonderfully displayed my work, and I'm really honored my pieces are being shown there. So thank you so much. So I would like to start my presentation. So I share now screen. And so please let me know if it's okay.
大丈夫です。
はい、では始めます。So I would like to talk about my history, my process, and my inspiration. This is a photo of a rice farm of the family have in Japan. So I was born in Kani City, Gifu Prefecture in Japan, which is located in the middle region of Japanese mainland island, Honshu. And surrounded by rice fields, my family also grows rice. I remember during the hot summer night, tens of thousands of frogs singing, voice from the rice paddies filling the air. Once the rice is fully grown, it covers the landscape, making everything look a fresh green. I loved the sound of rustling rice leaves traveling through the paddy fields. These are beautiful memories from my home. I now live in London, UK, but when I am working quietly in my studio, focusing on something, I hear these sounds as if I am still in Japan. The memory of nature keeps my mind peaceful and focused. When I decided to go to Tazimi Technical High School in Gifu Prefecture, I joined the ceramics throwing club where I learned more about ceramics. It was probably at the high school that I started engaging with clay creatively. I discovered that I really needed to understand the characteristic of clay to take on the challenge of creating a good form and pleasing shape. Gifu Prefecture MENA region, and ceramics is historically one of the main industries. Over many generations, families have been engaging in ceramics business, passing down skills and knowledge. My grandfather was a tiling artisan. The tiles he used for work were everywhere in our house and filled our storage. He also decorated our house with his tiling, an entire bathroom, including bathtub, sink, toilet, as well as kitchen walls, corridors, floors, and most of the part of exteriors. I felt like we were living in his work of art. My grandfather and his work has been enormous inspiration for me. I especially loved our bathroom. He arranged and applied small pebble-like irregular shaped tiles with a variety of colors, almost look like a bed of a river. Not only the beauty of his work, but also his meticulous accuracy inspired me. With very simple tools, just pin and thread, he applied the tiles, do precisely without any flaws. So this is a picture, the entrance of my family home, and I don't have so much images, but you can see all these the tiles applied exteriors. And then because it's a ceramic place, each house have often this raccoon ceramics sculpture in front of the house. So this is the start of my ceramics journey, and I moved to Kanazawa when I was around 19. It's in Ishikawa Prefecture. It is a snowy place and have a rich history of traditional crafts, ceramics, and especially Kutani overglaze painting pottery. This one is the example. Often the design is painted in the details on porcelain with beautiful white colors. I saw that when I encounter this Kutani pottery, I found the similarities between my actually manga, Japanese comic drawing, and these pieces. Then I came up with the idea to combine my manga work and ceramics work by using Kutani overglaze painting technique. I also loved the regional seafood in Hokuriku region. So Hokuriku region is the area of Kanazawa City. So I made a series of Kutani porcelain with my manga decoration with the inspiration from the regional foods. So this is manga drawings I used to, I have done when I was in college. And then these are the pieces which I made combining my manga drawing and Kutani overglaze painting technique. This is another work I did at the college in Kanazawa. So this is that area is famous for this wonderful seafood, and in the winter they eat this small female crab. And, so I inspired by piece and draw the story over the surface with Kutani overglaze painting technique. And this is shrimp also the one of the dish which is quite common there in winter time. This is a sea bream, and the Kanazawa City gold is also the important the materials which have been used for many things, including craft, also foods too, and the cosmetics. So gold leaf was everywhere. So naturally, I am inspired by the material and often use the gold leaf on my porcelain work. So then afterwards, I moved to UK, and it was I went to Denmark before it, but it was a really changing the experience for me. I'm inspired by the way plants are used for decorations everywhere. It is amazing that the way plants have been used in many forms all over the Europe and beyond, I thought. Like architecture, jewelry, wallpaper, bridges, picture frames, and so on. Organically changing its shape and form in variety of ways. We don't realize, but it exists everywhere, following the line, the corner of a room, decorating objects we love and treasure. Living in London, a city full of art and antiques, I learned how to study, how to enjoy historical ceramics by taking time to discover without rushing through museum galleries, by looking very closely at all aspects of pot, then it is possible to find that one tiny detail which can have a great attraction and become an inspiration for a new work of art. I was visiting a museum and I came across the Jasper ware from Wedgwood in this way. When I was still in Japan, I had an opportunity to see Wedgwood products in the large department stores. These refined ornamental pieces were quite contrast to the works I was making at college. Ornamentation as a kind of innocent fantasy world applied to a perfect European shaped body appealed to me because it looked so exotic. Yet, still I could not see any connection to my work. I never thought this would become such an influence and become intrinsic part of my work in later on. When I was studying at the Royal College of Art in London, I gradually became more fascinated by their pottery technique called sprigging, which is a technique to make ceramic thin relief to decorate pot. Typically, of course, used on the Wedgwood Jasper ware. Spending time in museum, I was drawn to the wonderful detail of Wedgwood sprigs, which I haven't fully observed before. The design have also a sense of flow and movement, which makes everything look three-dimensional. Wedgwood sprig sometimes has only a few millimeters thickness or less. You can see there how thin it could be. However, we can almost feel the realistic volume of tree, a person, and an animal within the blue Wedgwood background. From that, I learned I don't need to have a thick, chunky clay to express 3D object. This is how I was inspired by Wedgwood technique to develop my work. This is a piece I named Show Covers, which I designed for artists in residence in Wedgwood. Fortunately, I got the opportunity to work with the brand as an artist in residence program. I explained, maybe some people don't know, Wedgwood ceramics manufacturer in Britain, which founded by Josiah Wedgwood over 260 years ago. And as the first artist in residence at Wedgwood, I have worked closely with their craftsmen to create a collection of 6 limited edition works launched in June 2 years ago. Like my own work, I intended nature to be a main theme, not just simply a supporting role in the decoration. I hope that it will be like I be taking over a house. I wish my collection at Wedgwood to look as if nature was regaining power over civilization and sense of nature invading. In the 19th century, when Josiah Wedgwood invented Jasperware, the Grand Tour was a fashionable adventure. Being inspired by souvenirs collected when traveling, the neoclassical style decoration became popular in the architecture and other art. Josiah Wedgwood, being a businessman, wished to capitalize on this new trend and made products that respond to this fascination with all things classical. At the same time, he also introduced new designs to satisfy people with a romantic taste. However, my artist in residence, instead of grand tour or romanticism, I wish to convey something of contemporary significance, something that resonates personally with me and is considered deeply the world over. Perhaps due to climate change and disruption of our ecosystem, we think more about nature and have a desire for it to be part of our daily, everyday life. So I made a collection which nature is main theme. I wanted to make peace with nature striving rather than neatly lining up on my collection. And then after my graduation from RCA, I have a shared studio with 4 friends in London. So this is a photo from the studio. Since I started making the current style of work, nature is continue to be an important part of my life. I enjoy walking in green and discovering huge variety of beauty in nature. When I walked in the green landscape, smelling leaves and flowers, with breathing fresh air, I feel my senses are more heightened to existing discoveries, exciting discoveries. Even walking the same path in the same woodland, there is always something new. Sometimes I crouch to carefully examine a plant structure, touching the surface to understand the thickness and texture. This feeds my imagination and becomes part of my thought. When I'm back in studio making new porcelain work, it is not only actually the nature that I discover during my walks that inspires me, but also when handling the porcelain clay itself. Then my old memories of nature in Japan come flooding back through my hands. Abstract and uncertain when it was in my mind, but kneading, brushing, patting, carving, there are many processes before the shape emerges from the porcelain clay and begins to take the form of my tactile memory. This is an image of my drawing. I sometimes have this small sketchbook to memorize what I found in a walk that day in the forest. This is a picture I'm making my original brick model in my studio. Left to right, you can see the stage of brick making. I carved the original model with clay or plasticine. Making a model is really important process. So I take some time, 1 month to make a single brick model. This is also the model of a brick I carved. Once mold is made, I start making hundreds of leaf sprigs in porcelain. From it, and carefully and patiently carve each sprigs to create finer details. I then apply the porcelain leaves in layers onto foam thrown potter's wheel. I often apply the leaves so densely that the underlying shape is entirely hidden. Carving each sprig is a very important process in my work. I am not satisfied with sprigs just straight from mold. I felt needing more finer quality. I was looking for a tool which I could give excellent crisp detail. And so you can see on the image, I made the new tools by modifying dentist tools. Lots of craft people would agree that making tools also creative process and part of work. The carving porcelain require a lot of patience and concentration. This is a pot I have thrown on the potter's wheel. Throwing is very important technique also in ceramic making. This is a piece which have been shown in the exhibition at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum. Each leaves are hand carved after press molding, as I explained before. After I apply curved sprigs on the shape I throw on the wheel, I again carve in more finer details like this. And then this image is just 2 boxes, but very important for my work. This image shows how slowly I have to dry to avoid the porcelain cracking. So sometimes a large piece, I wait nearly 1 year to dry in a box, controlling the moisture inside of the box. This is the image of my piece at the British Museum. This is feather leaves bowl and now permanently displayed in the British Museum. More than 1,000 carved porcelain leaves are attached to the thrown piece. I often use my memory of nature from my hometown in Japan. For this piece, I was imagining sounds of rustling leaves in the wind through rice pad in my village. I named these leaves feather, wishing they look as if dancing lightly, freely like feathers in air. This shape for me represents nature striving. The lower part is when just it gets up from earth, it is tightly closed like charging power inside. Then as it goes up, it opens wide like flower opens in early morning. When I completed this piece, I realized interestingly, this shape is similar to a Jomon flame pot created in ancient Japan. Now in the display it sits next to Haniwa, which is made in ancient Japan really thousand years ago. Getting over the 1,000 years of difference in time, they are breathing now same air in one space. I felt really something really strange feeling like getting over time, looking at my piece next to these ancient pieces. Then these are the pieces now displayed in the Marine Art Museum. And this is the two gilded pots. I often gild inside of my porcelain pot. When I use gold, it evokes memory of my time in Kanazawa, in Ishikawa, but also it evokes the memories of my grandmother and it's a memory that my grandmother, I reciting Buddhist scriptures in front of our Buddhist altar at home. My family is a Buddhist, and we have a Butsudan, Buddhist altar. It is sort of a black Urushi cabinet when it is closed, but inside are dazzling golden temples with golden statues. Most of all surfaces are covered with gold leaf. When I was little, my grandmother used to say, this is the heaven all our family ancestors are living now, and eventually she will join them. When I am applying gold leaf inside of my porcelain pieces, I remember the grandmother's word. Then I feel a heaven behind the gold leaf where our ancestors, my family, including my grandmother, are living. These two pieces I made be inspired by wisteria, which I found in the St. Paul Cathedral in London. I really loved the way wisteria flower peeking out between their leaves. So I wanted to express that discovery, also giving the fine details to each the splits. This is the wisteria I found on the site. These are the pieces also now in the exhibition, and the nature is not only the something we can see. So leaves, flowers, of course, it's nature, but wind, the air, these are also part of the nature. So I made these the sprigs, this spider space, inspired by the power of the air, like the wind. This is a small zenmai and English daisy ball. My mother and me often used to go the forest to hunt their young friends, because it's can be cooked and eat. So, and this is the piece I must say that from my memory nature in Japan, I really loved the way the berry paints, the color up in the tip, And this is a rhododendron, also displayed in the exhibition. And this is kind of, I must say, from both the countries, Japan and the UK. In Japan, there are lots of rhododendrons called tsutsuji, and we have also at home. But also here in England, we find there quite a lot in the park and forest. And when I saw this bright red color on the tsutsuji, I cannot help to think about my home. This is a rhododendron. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
ありがとうございました。Thank you so much. This is great. Wow, this is so exciting. Thank you so much. Okay. ひとみさん、if you can 今スクリーンシェアを切っていただけます。もしよかったらすいません。Great. All right. Thank you so much. Again, if you guys have any questions, please send them to me. But my first question is to actually to our friends of MMAM. When is the last day of Hitomi-san's show at your museum?
Hi, coming back in. I know we were just that is a great question. We hope it doesn't end. This is going to be sad to see this work go. I am almost sure that I think it's April 30th. Yeah.
April 30th?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. I am getting questions. Oh, so Hitomi-san, how do you control the moisture content of the clay while you're working on it?
I have to keep once there when the clay is in a bag, we can I always keep close. But once it's become pieces, also easy to dry, so I continue spray the water. But also when I drying, I put in a box laminated with the plastic and place the small pool underneath bottom of the box so that the moisture come in the air, so that piece doesn't dry out.
Right. Wow. So you were saying that there was a piece that sometimes you have to wait for like 1 hour to dry. Do you do anything in between while you're waiting?
You mean the drying?
Yeah, just to dry. You put it in a box. You have a picture of the
yes,
boxes?
Yes. No, usually one day I work during the day, and when I go finish work, I put the piece in the box and tightly closed, so that it doesn't really wouldn't be exposed to the dry air. So only when I work, I have to expose to dry air, but it's only during the day, and I continue spray the pieces, maybe every I don't know, sometimes 10 minutes or so, depends on the day. Some day it's very dry, so I need to keep spraying quite often.
Wow. So Minnesota gets really, really, really dry sometimes. So you might not want to work here.
Yeah, I needed to have, maybe I have to be in the box, I think.
Yes, yeah, you need to be in a box with them.
With them.
Yeah. I'm sure that the museum can build you a box for you.
Oh, wonderful. It's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah. Are they glazed?
My pieces are not glazed. Generally, just porcelain without any clear glaze or any.
Okay, great. What is your favorite flower or plant to do for your work?
Yes. I loved a lot of plants, and I love the most the piece I'm working on. So there, but I must say, when think about it, nowadays it depends on time, but the chrysanthemum is really yes, there's something like that, because my family love the chrysanthemum. We have chrysanthemum everywhere in the garden. So yes, I love chrysanthemum.
Oh, so chrysanthemum. Great. Yeah. Why did you pick UK to study ceramics?
Yes. So I was in Japan, and I wasn't really sure which country go, but I vaguely thought the Europe. I wanted to learn the design, the art in ceramics in Europe because of this historical element. Then I went to Denmark to ask my tutor, which is the best ceramic school, ceramic course in Europe, and he recommended the Royal College of Art in London. So I decided to go.
Got it. Got it. Great. So there's another question that can you explain those spiral springs are? But maybe you were saying
Yes.
it was a wind.
It was like yes, wind, the spiral one. Yes.
So it is kind of like the showing the wind. It kind of reminds me of like Van Gogh's painting where there's like a movement of that like air.
Yes.
You know, I was kind of thinking that, which I thought it was great.
Very interesting.
I'm
Yes.
sorry?
Yeah, I know it's very inspiring to hear how people think about their work. So
Yeah, no, I really, it's making me really want to go visit, but I'm also same time, I will be really scared. I'll be walking like this, trying not to touch your work. But hold on. Are the pieces of exhibition at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum only fired once?
yes, usually ceramic pieces are two firing, bees firing and the glaze firing, but because I don't need the glaze, so I fire just once to top temperature, like around 1280 degrees.
Okay. Does it often break, or you almost never break anything?
In the beginning, I started this style of work. There are lots of problem with the cracks, but nowadays, of course, I don't want to waste material, and the clay is a precious material, so I'll be careful not to break it in firing.
What kind of clay do you use? Do you have a specific clay that you like? And why?
I like the porcelain. The material is so smooth, and I enjoy also even just touching the material. When you pinch, it almost look like already petal of the flower, and this kind of the ductility is really suits to my I think style of work.
Like, I feel like the porcelain is so like smooth that I feel like every time you touch it, it's like fingerprints, like all the time. Do you have to be like, I mean, you use your like hand, you don't wear gloves or anything like that, do you?
No, I think sometimes people can see the fingerprint on my.
Really?
maybe in the exhibition somebody might have because of course I have a fingerprint but often I define with the brushes so after I shaped so that's why the surface become really smooth.
Got it. What kind of work are you working on now?
Currently, I'm working on a project for one of the historical place in National Trust in the UK to have exhibition and be inspired by their garden, and their house, and making pieces.
And if you were to like compare to what you have at the Marine Museum right now, is it similar or it's very different or?
It is still white porcelain pieces, but the pieces is from their garden and this history of the house. So there are sometimes something like the more, I think something new from that place. And, yes, I chose also new plants, which I never made actually before. So it's quite in the beginning challenging, but now nicely it's coming along.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good. Hold on, I just thought that, hold on. Oh, so in average, how long does it take to create one piece from beginning to the end?
If it's from beginning to the end, from the point I start making the model, I must say small piece takes like around 3-4 months, and largest one I think it might take 2 years sometimes. So average I will say 1 year.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a lot. Do you think you will ever go back to coloring them?
So far, once I went back to, no, I did colored porcelain work, but right now I'm more focusing on the shape and forms. So I think for now I stay the porcelain without the adding colors. But don't know, maybe next year suddenly I want to add colors, and this happens like I think around 10 years ago. Suddenly I wanted to use so many colors and it was for the project, but I enjoyed. Don't know, but so far I stayed in this without any colored porcelain.
Great. If I can ask you a question, I really liked your early work where you had kind of manga drawing on them, and then I thought they were beautifully creepy, and I just loved that juxtaposition of beauty and then also kind of creepy and a little bit scary. Where was that idea coming from?
I think that because my manga drawings, since I was in high school, I was drawing. It's really creepy. Like I don't think anyone know, but Umezu Kazuo is a wonderful manga artist, and I liked his work. He draw like the very like obake, the ghost and the monsters and things. I loved it. So this kind of dark kind of comic taste is mixed with this really heavily ornated Kutani porcelain I think the image, and then became like that. I think.
No, I think I love those things that and I think I see that kind of similar way in the current work as well a little bit, because there's like so much of density in the leaves and in flowers, and then it's got so much power, like energy kind of towards the viewer, and it's beautiful, but at the same time a little bit scary because it's so much. And I just think, and then just I think it's so great that with the sensitive material and then kind of that power, the energy that comes with. Yeah, so Umezu Kazuo, Aiko-san, could you kind of super quickly search Umezu Kazuo? He's a really, really well-known comic artist. I don't know, Hitomi-san, do you think like 80s, 70s?
I think that, yeah, 70, 80s already, he's quite famous and well known. But I think his style of work really resonate. I think that kind of the trend that time, like
At that time, yes, absolutely. I couldn't sleep when I was kid because that manga was very scary. Aiko-san, do you have any like a sample picture or something that you might be able to share?
Image.
Yeah.
Can I just quick share
Yeah.
slide, share my
Yeah, you can share.
screen?
And like nobody will sleep tonight. That's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think his obsession to the details are amazing. I think. He came once to the art college in Kanazawa and gave a lecture, and he said only one scene he took 1 week without sleeping, just draw this back of the computer.
Wow.
The obsession of details, amazing, I thought.
And then I think that detail makes it really scary too, though.
It is scary, I think.
Thank you, Aiko-san. Yeah, now I'm gonna not sleep in. I'll be mad at Hitomi-san for tonight.
I hope people can sleep even after work.
Great, thank you so much, Hitomi-san. And then I am getting a lot of thank you messages, and everybody really, really enjoyed your work. And please, please, please try to make it there if you are in the area. I think it will be great, and I'm definitely excited about this. And thank you so much, Hitomi-san, for joining us. And also thank you everybody from MMAM. It's wonderful to have you. If we can take picture with all of you, that would be great. Could you please turn on your cameras if you don't mind being the picture together? Meanwhile, you can all, bring out your makeup crew, hair crew, and get ready. All right, so what should we say today instead of cheese? Oh, easy. Instead of cheese, today we will say Hitomi. That's how you smile. See, that's easy. All right, let's see. Yoko-san, are you ready? All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3, Hitomi. How is it, Yoko-san? Good? All right. Thank you again, everybody. It's wonderful to have you. And please continue checking us on the website, become a member, and we will continue having these kind of events. So Thank you guys. Have a good night. 大丈夫かな。
失礼します。
ありがとうございました、ひとみさん。
ありがとうございました。おやすみな
本当
さい。
に素晴らしかったです。ありがとうございます。も
ございました。
もったいない。もう私たちにはもったいないぐらいです。
それでは失礼します。
はい、失礼します。ありがとうございました。
あー